I want to share some things about online learning options for adults. I teach, many of you also teach, and some of you have taken classes, and there are just a lot of choices. But as we've gone more online as part of dealing with COVID, there are some things that I've learned about online learning that I didn't even know before, even though I do it as kind of a business. One of the things that helps is for people to understand the best way they learn. And so some people learn better through through reading. Some people learn better by themselves without distractions. Some people learn better by listening to something. Some people learn better in a group. Some people love hands-on. Some people love the ability to watch video at their leisure. Some people prefer a lecture. Some people want tutoring. They want someone that they can have a dialogue with. So there's lots of different styles of learning. And a lot of times people don't necessarily think about what's the best way and what's the most enjoyable way I learned something. But if you think about something you learned that was really a lot of fun and you enjoyed and you had a good time doing it, that might help you understand your learning type, because with online, you've got a variety of choices. Even though we aren't physically present, we do have a lot of choices in terms of finding options that fit our learning style. So there's a couple of choices to make about online learning. You can get online learning for academic credit. My oldest son got a master's degree. He lives in Southern California, but he got a master's degree in computer science from Georgia Institute in Georgia, Atlanta. And it was an academic degree. It's transferable. It's recognized by all accredited institutions. So you can take academic credit online. A lot of the colleges these days are going online and they're teaching classes online, and they've been preparing for it for a while. Some have been preparing better. We're not going to talk too much about that. There's one or two sites that do offer that I'll mention, but that's not really my focus today. My focus is really on not for credit, because it's just for fun or enrichment or job skills or just to be a lifelong learner, or maybe career. A lot of people making career changes and finding different ways to do things. A lot of small businesses, I find, are changing the way they use online activities in terms of their business. So this is our focus really for today, is the not for credit. There's cost. There's a lot of choices that are free, but there are choices that charge for something. They're paid. And so what your budget is and what you're willing to pay is a factor. I've taken some online photography classes and some in-person photography classes. Some have been free. And usually there's some kind of a product promotion, or there's a sponsor, like a brand that's promoting it. But there are paid ones as well. And sometimes you get better and sometimes not so better. So the quality varies a lot with paid and free. And so you have to be careful sometimes about where you get it and who's doing it. It's really important to have a trusted instructor. This is what I learned a few months ago about online learning. There's something called asynchronous, and this is good if you want to impress your friends and family, is that you know the difference now between asynchronous learning and synchronous learning. And asynchronous learning is what's commonly referred to as self-paced. There's no schedule where you have to show up typically at a particular time. You might have to go through so many hours of training, but you don't have to be in front of a computer or at an online training session at 10 a.m. You could do it at 9 or 11 or whatever. And it's passive. You are taking the material yourself, and you're not interacting with a real person. Synchronous is kind of what we're doing now. It's live training. It's in person. People are there. You have a chance to actually ask questions of the instructor. It's scheduled. And so you had a lot of opportunities to experience live training. And if you've watched a YouTube how-to video, you've watched something asynchronous. So you're already using asynchronous and synchronous learning styles. And some people prefer one versus another. Live training, synchronous training is usually scheduled, and there's some interactivity. Now, it gets a little more involved because there's a lot of tools out there for online learning that give people some different choices. Asynchronous, as I mentioned, has recorded presentations, but some programs offer the ability to email someone or participate in a website and get feedback, or have a chat discussion that you can participate in, but it's not live. It's not live taking place in real time as people are doing it. There might be social media groups. I know a couple of software companies that have social media groups that they provide technical support and build a community with social media groups in order to tie users together. And they go in there with their staff and answer questions, but they aren't there necessarily when you are there. So that's part of it. And then there might be collaborative documents in the cloud where people can collaborate on something and make changes and modifications. So there's a lot of tools and learning systems that make asynchronous participatory, but it's not always live. It's never live. Synchronous, you've got scheduled times. You've got scheduled quizzes and tests. You've typically got live streaming lectures, and you've got scheduled live group meetings. So it's that two-way communication that makes the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Now, you can have synchronous one-on-one. There are tutoring sites out there that a lot of people use for learning how to play guitar, learning how to dance, other things that are one-on-one instruction, synchronous, so they can be group or individual. It's just a lot of choices, and so you have a lot of options available for what fits you best, which is really great. It's done. There's a lot of free places. We'll take a look at some resources like the public library, obviously YouTube, TED, which is great for learning things, Coursera, and museums. It's amazing what's out there that's available. And some of these are available through smartphone apps, some are available through websites, and some are available through set-top boxes like an Apple TV or a Roku player or something like that, so that there's just a lot of ways you can sit and enjoy and learn things through a variety of approaches. So there's lots of different choices in media. So some of the free ones, and we'll take a look at a lot of webs. I've got, like I said, 25, 30 bookmarks we're going to look at. The public library, YouTube, podcasts, TED, museums, retailers, Coursera, Eventbrite, onzoom, which is brand new. We'll talk a little bit about that. Ollie, which is the Usher Lifelong Learning Institute. I know that some of you have taken classes through that. MasterClass, the great courses, Ed2Go, various extension programs, Atlas Obscura, Road Scholar, Udemy, Skillshare, edX. You may not have heard of all of these. Now, on my website, I've got all of these linked, so and I'll review the article with you and we'll take a look, but I've got all of these links so that if you forget one or forgot where it was, you just have to go to my website, find it. And this is the article that was attached to the email, Online Learning Choices for Adults. A little bit about what type of learner are you, asynchronous, websites and apps and different things. And I've got all of these linked, so if you just click on any of them, you'll be able to find them. So let's take a look at a few of these and see how far we get today, because there's just a lot available, okay? So one of the first ones is our public library. You can borrow and read books and audiobooks from your local public library for free. No matter where you live, it seems the libraries have all integrated and gone digital. They've been digital for a long time. And when we could actually go into a library in person and talk to a librarian, they were really good at helping people getting these apps installed on their platforms. They try and do a little bit remotely, but it can be a challenge for them. But Libby is an application made by a company called Overdrive. And your local library typically offers it through an app store and Google Play. And you can actually download the app and register with your library, even if you don't have a library card. So as long as you live in an area with a public library, you typically can find something. And these are free downloadable ebooks and audiobooks that you can borrow and read. And if you already have a library card, you just have to find out how your library handles your digital online username and create a login for yourself on Libby. And they've got this thing here, a QR code. You can actually hold your phone up to the QR code and scan it and download the app. Whether you have an Android or whether you have an iPhone, it'll go to the right place. They also have websites, a website too. Overdrive tends to be the website. So that's Libby. It's free because we support our public libraries and we can check out books electronically. Another one that's run by libraries is Hoopla. Hoopla lets you borrow digital movies, music, and ebooks. Ebooks will typically take you to Libby, but it sometimes works separately depending on the library. And you just have to have a username and a library, but you can actually borrow digital movies. You're not going to get, well, there aren't too many latest ones in the theaters now, in case you hadn't noticed, but you have the ability to borrow movies, music, audiobooks, ebooks, comics, and TV shows that you can use on your computer, tablet, or phone, and even your TV. So there's just a lot of options here just from your public library. And you can use it on a mobile app or you can use it on these streaming devices. They support Android TV, Chromecast, Fire TV, and Roku. So you can sit and enjoy a movie from the library for free in front of your favorite TVs and your favorite chair as well. So that's a couple. All right, let's go on to one more. Okay, Fred had a great note here, Canopy. Canopy is offered by the LA Public Library. Thank you, Fred, for appreciate that. Because Orange County works with Overdrive. Your local library will work with a particular application. So if you don't find Overdrive or Libby at your library, just go to your library website and they may have something a little bit different. And they have different content in each one. So the libraries actually have to pay a fee to make a movie or a book lendable. And so they have a budget for that and they're using it increasingly. YouTube's a great website. The challenge with YouTube is the quality of the material you find. And so what I found works best for me on YouTube is when I search for something and I find a good quality website or channel, I will subscribe to it, make sure I keep it in my list here of information that I can keep track of. And so that's helpful. I use TechSmith software, so I subscribe to their channel. I teach a class on how to live, work, and retire abroad. And there's some people I follow that write about living in Mexico. There's some exercise workout videos I utilize. And then MacMost, which is a great site for Mac users, I subscribe to him. So there's lots of different things, but the challenge is, of course, finding a lot of stuff. There's a lot of amateur people that do a really good job. And there's some professional people that do a really good job. And then there's a lot of people that don't do so good a job. And so you have to really judge for yourself the quality of the material. But there are a lot of major organizations that do have YouTube channels. So it's a good resource to check out every once in a while. Okay, TED. TED's slogan is ideas worth spreading. I don't know how many of you have listened to TED Talks or watched TED Talks, but they're an organization that started out a long time ago in the early 70s, I believe, which with some leaders from technology companies that wanted to get together and bring in people that were knowledgeable and kind of spread their expertise outside of the technology field. And they become a really very active program. They have lectures on technology, science, design, business, activism, child development. You can find a vetted, credible expert in almost any topic, and from just really good things. Authors do them. So TED invites these people in to give a presentation, and then they record them and they put them up on the TED website. Sometimes they're on YouTube as well, but increasingly they're on the TED website. If you set up an account, which is free, you are able to mark some as favorites. and be able to find them again and create lists of TED Talks that you like. Because sometimes it's good to go walk and repeat them. So they'll have newest talks, how to be a good ancestor, Kristen Jones on sexual assault, Kendra Reeves on how to reduce the wealth gap. Some of these are lecturers, some of these are professors, some of these are experts from international organizations, and they'll have ones that are trending, ones that get more views, highlights from Countdown. They'll have TED Circles, so they actually have quite a few ways that TED Talks are done. And I've had some friends that have done some TED Talks locally at a program called TEDx, which is a sponsored program for TED Talks at local venues. So it's just another great resource. Okay, let's go on to Coursera. Coursera is free to join, and they actually have a wide range of offerings. They have courses from University of Illinois, Duke University, Stanford, University of Pennsylvania, that are academic courses, but they also have certificate programs from people like Google and IBM and others that are skills where you can actually get a certification. So Coursera has free learning, but they also have paid courses as well. So they have, it's possible to get a full degree from Coursera. A lot of universities offer their programs through Coursera. Some offer them separately, but it's been popular for a lot of different things. Right now they're selling 13 plus professional certificates for skill development, 3,900 different courses for everything. And you can take courses in history and language and other things that are just great options. So there's a choice between free or paid. If you want to get academic credit, you typically pay, or one of the certificate programs, but they've got 200 leading universities and companies. It's just a great way if you want to get into deeper dives on things that are available to you. Okay, Wikihow. This is an odd little one because it's not so much for learning, but well, it is. It's how to do things. And what they do is they are a vetted website. They're a nonprofit. They're community supported through donations, but they do have an editorial team that reviews things. So the advantage of YouTube is that there's a lot available and everybody knows about it. But the advantage of Wikihow is that they do have a review process before they put something up there. So they've got little things like how to change your background on Zoom, how to check your credit score, learning dances on TikTok, how to light a pumpkin for Halloween, how to dry and preserve cheese at home. And they're researched articles, and they have a lot of experts. So they have a really good editorial process that they have. That's a great way to go. And their format's very consistent. So if you look at one type of Wikihow, you'll be able to understand how another Wikihow goes. And they're both available as an app or a website. Really good thing. But how to do anything. I haven't found anything missing there unless it's really obscure. So it's a real challenge there. So a good site to learn how to do things. Okay, edX. edX is something that Harvard and MIT started, where it's a very similar to Coursera and a very comparable opportunity for people to look. You can register. There are free courses. There are academic degrees that are offered. You can see that some are certificate programs. You can see it's a little more skills and academic oriented, computer science, language, data science, business and management, engineering, humanities. But you can sign up, and if a course is available for free online, you can take a mechanical engineering course, or you can take a course in fashion design, or take a course in Mandarin if you want to. So there's lots and lots of different options available, but they also have a structure where you can actually go and pursue a degree program if that's what you're interested in doing as well. So edX and Coursera are pretty similar that way. Okay, Eventbrite. Eventbrite is an event ticketing website. but they have a lot of events on there. So the events are not just training, they're events for everything. So they have events for like conferences that people run, like Women's Global Leadership Conference, or a 5-day mindfulness challenge. And some of these are free, and some of these are paid. So they'll have events, comedy shows, Halloween, beer festivals, things that are just fun things to do. Some I don't understand them at all, but there's all kinds of events that you can find that are offered by organizations, nonprofits, people, individuals, online training organizations, and so they have a lot of different things. A lot of them are themed and approaches, and a lot of events are charitable. So they have trick or treats, virtual holiday events for all ages, 86 upcoming events. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this to see what they have. So kids paint along class, a nightlight luminary, an online Halloween at the National Gallery of Art. That's interesting. It's a guided art tour that Stephen Mead is going to take you to the gallery's works. Halloween trivia online, a trivia night. Ghost tours at Edith Wharton's home. So it's just amazing what is out there. And like I say, some of these will be free. Let's take a look at the online Halloween here at the National Gallery of Art. And you have to set up a free account and register, but it's $15. Okay, so it's run by Street Art Museum Tours, and it explains a little bit about it, gives you some background on your host, types of things you might see. So there's lots of things that are available, and they have a hashtag system where if you click on these things, you can find other tags, other types of activities that have similar, and they'll list more events from this organizer as well. So he's not just doing it one day. You can actually sign up for different days and times, but it's this one is a synchronous live one where the person's actually doing it for you while they're showing you through. So that's Eventbrite. Now, what's happening with Zoom, our friends at Zoom, is they are starting a service called onzoom. And I applied to be part of their beta program, and they took me in, and they said we're going to be rolling things out. But onzoom is about having online events and real experiences available through Zoom. Then some are free and some are paid. So Bacardi, for example, is sponsoring some training programs on ultimate guide to food and drink pairings, Friendsgiving cocktails, different types of things. And the activity with both Eventbrite and onzoom is live. So these are live activities. And that's what Zoom is trying to promote, is not so much a pre-recorded type of thing that you can go back and watch later, but a real live event. So they have things on education and family, entertainment and visual arts, and some things they're just starting. They're in beta, so they don't really have a lot of programs yet, but based on what they're doing, I expect to see a lot more. So entertainment, visual arts, they have some here that are available. Some are sold out. So some of these are cameras, some are game breaks, some are lifestyle. There are some that are free and some that are paid. And the advantage of onzoom is that you can rate a program. So you can see somebody really likes this. So you get the ability, like shopping on Amazon, to see what people have in reviews as well. Okay, podcasts. I personally love listening to podcasts. I listen to them when I go for walks. I listen to them when I go driving in the car. And so iTunes and Google and Spotify, there's a lot of different websites and services where you get podcasts, but there are just all kinds of topics that are available on almost anything. And podcasts are always free. I haven't really found a paid one. An audiobook might be something you have to download and pay for unless you get it from your library. But a podcast tends to be a serialized lecture series where some are interviews, some are talking, some are good for the, but they're just amazing. So iTunes and your Apple phone will have a podcast app, and you can find podcasts, you can search for them. Your Google Android device supports Google Podcasts, and most people that do a podcast now distribute them everywhere. Okay, so that you get them on Spotify, on others, or other types of things that you want to do. So there's lots of different approaches for that. The Daily, which is New York Times, Joe Rogan, they show top podcasts, they show reviews. So they're just amazing that what's out there. People promote podcasts. A lot of times people do a podcast to promote themselves as an author or lecturer or service or business, but they give out very useful information on podcast. I found one of the best podcast experiences was finding podcasters who do podcasts about how to podcast. And they give you a lot of really good information on microphones and setups and distributing the podcast and other things like that. But there's all types of things, whether you want surprises every day, whether there's a great podcast by someone called The Grammar Girl that teaches you a grammar tip. And some are weekly, some are monthly, some are daily. Okay, so it depends. Great choices. The Smithsonian. They're an institution that I kind of throw into a museum, but they're really an institution. But they have a tremendous amount of online resources that are available for anyone to take advantage of. So they actually have a lot of things. So Smithsonian Distance Learning. So they have digital access that you can take advantage of. They have science and nature, art and design, search terms. So their distance learning is about resources that you can access, tools that you can get. They have a learning lab. They have different events and training, so that not only is the stuff available to you available, but they also help support other people like teachers and students, so help them with resources that they can integrate into different topics and activities. But virtually, museums are a great resource for online activities. I'd love to go back to Europe because I have a son that lives in Spain, but I can't very easily. And so, but if I want to visit museums, you can typically do an online search for the museum, and you can find virtual tours. What they've done, museums have done a really great job of taking their galleries and making them available to you virtually so you can launch a virtual tour. So you've got choices like Eventbrite and onzoom, where there's actually people that will take you on a virtual tour of the material and give you a lecture, but there's other things you can do here. And there's people that do YouTubes, there's people that do virtual reality. They have themes and programs and other things that are available too for people to take advantage of the museum that's out there. So it's interesting. You can probably find anything available at any museum and find at least some content that they have available that they published online as well. Locally, for those of you that live in the Long Beach, Southern California area, the Aquarium of the Pacific, popular aquarium, they are open with limited access, but they do have an online academy here of activities that you can research and explore and learn about. So they have streaming, baby animals that they have, October 26th. These are free. You can sign up for them and take advantage of them anytime you want to. And some of them have live webcams. The live webcams are kind of interesting because you can watch penguins swimming, you can watch sea otters. There's actually a website that I found, and I don't remember it now, but it actually has a listing of live, zoo and aquarium webcams that are out there. Just a lot of fun to entertain yourself for a while. So those are some choices among museums. So libraries, some online academic programs, places to learn how to do things, some YouTube. There's just a lot more besides the things that we visit every day. So some of you are handy around the house, some of you not so handy. So I found that retailers are starting to get in the business. They've been putting things up on YouTube for a while, but they're getting more sophisticated now. Home Depot, for example, has this thing on home improvement tips. I showed it to a friend of mine and they were kind of like, but it depends on your skill set. If you don't know how to use a ratchet wrench, learning how to use a ratchet wrench is really a good tool, a resource to have. Or if you want to use a power drill or a nail gun or using a wrench, I have to do a little bit of bicycle repair myself. And so there are some bicycle sites I found that really are good at teaching people how to repair bicycles. But if you're trying to do a home project or anything, they're really great tips for you here that they have. And they've started to organize them, not just on their YouTube channel, because they do have a YouTube channel because they want to promote Home Depot, but they have a digital workshop. And I'm sure there's others out there from Lowe's. I just happen to pick Home Depot here. Okay. Nikon, I have a Nikon camera, and as part of owning the Nikon camera and registering, I get access to Nikon courses. So they have some paid courses. They're generally fairly inexpensive compared to some private photography classes you might take through some photography schools. But they have a lot of tools that are available that are things like they've got great photographers that are professionals that some are going to teach you basics about creating a music video. Some are just going to be getting started with your DSLR. These are complicated devices. They take a while to learn. Fundamentals of photography, beyond the fundamentals, landscaping, macro, children, pets, flashes, just all types of things to help you make the most out of your camera equipment. And not Canon has this information. GoPro, there's others out there as well. Some of the local photography stores have moved from being photography stores to photography schools, and they actually have online classes now that they're offering as opposed to in-person classes. For those of you that don't care about cameras or academic subjects, but you like using a sewing machine, Bernina has a range of online learning tools so that pretty much everybody that's trying to do something these days online with marketing, promotion, activity, they're trying to promote something and offering training. So this is an online class for a monogrammed garden flag. And they actually have Bernina educators. I didn't know this. My late wife was an avid quilter, and she had a Bernina. And as those of you who know it, they know they're more expensive than most digital cameras out there, but they're really high quality machines. And so there are other things that are available. So I don't know what else might be available from other types of sites, but Bernina was just one that I checked out. Let's go. Bernard Usher Foundation. We actually have a local university. Bernard Usher Foundation founded the Usher Lifelong Learning Institute. So these are courses that are organized by a local academic university, typically for lifelong learners, and there are small fees that are associated that they have. And so there are different options that are available through different organizations, but they list their institutes. Unfortunately, their website doesn't list a link to the Usher Institute link for each website. But I did pull up the listing of classes through the Cal State University at Long Beach, csulb.edu. And these are the Usher classes that they have that are available. Things like bridge, trading around the world, harmonica, computers, Zen, Spanish, others, things like that. Some are one-time classes, some are multiple sessions, and they have a lot of them are available for Zoom. And so if you know how to use Zoom, you can register for classes so that they do have some free events as well. But you just have to find your local organization for Usher and find out that they have. But they're primarily focused on people 50 and older. Okay. MasterClass. I ended up getting a free gift subscription to MasterClass from a friend last holiday season. And MasterClass is a series of lectures and lessons that are presented by industry-leading experts. Now, who are these people? They're athletes, they're performers. They started out with creative aspects, things like musicians, authors, writers, etc. But they have leaders that they find who are the people that are kind of recognized as the world's greatest in arts, writing, design, music. I actually took a class on negotiating skills that was offered by a former FBI hostage negotiator. But they'll get people that are really fantastic experts in their industry, and they interview them, and they have a series of lessons that you can watch and subscribe. It's paid, so MasterClass is $15 a month. But if you think there's anyone that you might want to learn from on MasterClass, their programs are really well done, and they're a great offering, a great opportunity. Okay, great courses. I've been a user of great courses for over a decade. They've been around a really long time. What great courses does is they go and they find great lecturers on a topic. They could be academic, they could be industry leaders, but predominantly academic people that are recognized by their institute, but they give really dynamic, entertaining lectures. In some people call it edutainment, which is a merging of entertainment and education. But their lectures are very entertaining. They have graphic and visual aids. You can buy a DVD. You can buy an online course. You can subscribe to them as a monthly service and get access to all of them. And they have tools for Word. They have things on history. They have things on writing. They're just gardening, all types of subjects that you have. They're about a 10-month subscription offer promotion, but you can buy individual ones as well. And so they actually have a money back guarantee policy if you're unhappy with anything that you've gotten from them. And I've actually taken some history classes, some engineering classes, some photography classes from them. And they get people like National Geographic staff photographers to do photography lessons. And so it's just amazing what's available. And they let you share them with your family. So if you actually want to watch something, I actually wrote to them and said, hey, if I wanted to share a great courses program and watch with my family, could I do it over Zoom? And they said, that it was perfectly legal to do that, legitimate. So I'm going to run through a few others here and see how we do. Ed2Go. A lot of local community colleges work with a company called Ed2Go. Ed2Go has been doing online learning for 10, 15 years. And what they have is a type of program where you take a lesson on your own schedule, and then you can chat and interact with a live professor, but not in real time. Okay, so you can ask questions, you can get feedback. So you can, some of their courses have homework assignments, some are just for enrichment learning as well. But you can learn new skills and activities, get some fundamentals. They've always focused on computer programs. They have some great programs for active duty military, so that they can prepare for career training and other things. So a lot of their courses are available in different environments. Let's take a look at some fundamentals here. And so you can see they have things on language, grant writing, professional development, test preparation, career computer applications, high school, other things that are out there. So Ed2Go is often off. Sometimes you can get them directly, but other times you get them through a local organization like a community college. So schools like Pasadena City College offers PCC Extension. There's a lot of extension programs out there, but they will offer online programs through people like Ed2Go. But they're also offering online programs and other types of activities where they're live instructor led. So it's different and depending on what you do, but they're offering online programs. I work with Pasadena, West LA, LA Valley, and a few others. Okay, Atlas Obscura, kind of an odd one. They organize some interesting little things. I don't know too much about Atlas Obscura, but they're a non-profit as far as I know, but they could be a profit. But they offer some oddball classes. So if you're looking for something off the beaten path, it is a good way to find them. And they have online experiences, trips. They actually still are doing a few trips. Photographing Chernobyl in the winter, Wings and Wonders, Birds of New Leaf, interesting backstage with a musician online, trivia night, Queen Dino 101. So they have different types of things and different types of foods and stories. It's a great place to find something off the beaten path. It's a little bit for that. Rhodes Scholar. Some of you may have heard of them. Some of you may have taken courses. They were doing things physically and organizing trips and learning experiences. Now they've got a whole wide range of immersive online learning experiences, include lectures, discussions, social time. So it's a way to stay connected with people as well. Udemy, more of a paid training program. You can buy individual classes and courses in almost anything. And so you can judge them based on people's reviews and evaluations. They don't curate it. They do make sure the video is a certain level of quality, but unlike something where like TED or others where people are invited, anyone that is capable of submitting things to Udemy can submit them, but you can generally judge by the ratings and reviews on them. Just a lot of variety from a lot of different people on online training. Skillshare tends to be focused more on creative aspects, design, photo, film, others, and they're a membership site that you join, and you get access to all of them, all of their material. So they have a lot of things that are available. A lot of people that would teach creative writing classes or cartooning classes or stand-up comedy classes at local venues are now doing these things on Skillshare. And if there's something they can record, they do them on Udemy. LinkedIn bought a company called Lynda, and LinkedIn in turn was bought by Microsoft. So they ended up becoming there. They're a subscription service. They're primarily focused on resources that you're going to want to use in the world of business and workplace. So a lot of companies offer LinkedIn Learning through their employee benefit program, so that but they do have some other things. They're great for online computer skills courses because they really keep up to date with things like Excel and PowerPoint and other things, Outlook and other tools like that. You can start a free trial, but you will end up paying for that ultimately. There's a couple of odd ones I find. There's a lot of things that are available through nonprofits. This is actually the Goodwill Foundation. They have a lot of technology classes that are available for free. And I've got this link on my webpage. Email basics, Gmail, computer tools, because they're offering programs to help their constituents get skills to be able to get out into the workforce. And a lot of computer skills are what's essential. So it's a great way to learn online. But there are also nonprofits that do things. I do some volunteer work with Habitat for Humanity out of Atlanta, where about once every 2 or 3 months we'll do a free online session for their constituents where we offer things like that. And so this is sponsored by Goodwill. It's a great site. It's available to you at any time. And then I mentioned the CSULB online home. So I'm going to take a break from talking now because I've talked about a lot of them. As you can see, there's not a shortage of material that's available. So I think now it's a good time for us to have a discussion, take any questions people have. And a couple of people offered some things. I am not an avid YouTube viewer. I'm actually thinking about, well, one of the things that helps me learn how to do something better is putting together a lesson on it. So I thought, well, maybe a YouTube lesson and how to search and subscribe to things and follow people and do things like that might be worthwhile at some point. But for now, let's just take any questions. If you have a question, raise your hand or say something in chat. And we've got a couple of suggestions here from chat, some comments, which is great for people that have added. But if you have any questions about the online learning sites, raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer them. Stephen, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, a friend of mine up in Minnesota, I go on Google Meet with, has a hard time with his Mac or iPad. Which is a good site that he can go to learn about that?
If he wants to learn general things about Apple, Apple actually has been putting a lot of things up on their YouTube channel for how to use a Mac. I follow a YouTuber that goes by the name Mac Most, M-O-S-T. If you need the link, Stephen, just email me and I'll forward the link to you. But those are, and then the Goodwill site has some information for Mac basics that's on there too.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have any questions about the choices that are available or some suggestions? Or I know Connie said Allison offers online classes. Connie, what is our Allison that offers the fitness and balance classes? Or is that what you're talking about?
No, they have all kinds of classes, just like edX, and what are some of the other ones that you mentioned? They have all different categories.
Is it spelled ALISON?
Yes.
Is it a .com or .edu?
It's a .com.
Okay, well, I'll look it up and I'll add it to my website. So they're kind of a general education resource, huh?
Right.
Okay, that's good to know. How did you find them?
I've just known about it for a long time. I've taken some courses through them.
Oh, okay, great, fantastic. Anybody else have any comments or suggestions or questions? I mean, obviously you're all going to be smarter next week when I see you, right? Because you've all got so many places to go learn new things, right? Gloria, you have your hand up.
Yes, a friend of mine in San Diego just recommended the San Diego Oasis, and it's just sandiegoOasis.com. They've just had 4 days of free technology courses, and if you didn't get onto them live, you could go to YouTube.
Okay,
through San Diego Oasis too.
Yeah. A lot of people find out about things through recommendations, or they've been using it so long they don't remember how they learned about it in the first place because it's been around that way for a long time. So I mean, anybody else? Let's see. So 60andMe, Senior Planet, Cyber Senior, lot of sites. Yeah, a lot of sites. Yeah. So you'll save when you leave the meeting. Your chat is saved in your Zoom folder, so that if someone mentions something here, but I keep up my website up to date. So if there's things that I can find and add on there. Diane, you have your hand up.
Yeah, maybe you answered this already, but are you going to have a list of these on your website, or can we print any of this out?
If you got my newsletter, which is how you found out about how to register for the Zoom meeting, in the newsletter there's a link to the article, and on my website this is the latest newsletter article that shows up in the newsletters. It's on online learning, options for adults, and so all these things, all the tabs that I've shown you actually have a link in the article, so that you can just go to the article and link to it. You don't have to remember any of these.
Thank you.
It's just kind of like, this is what I collect. I collect websites and apps and resources and other things, and I can put them up on my website that where they're available for everybody to go take advantage of. Anybody have anything else they want to recommend or suggest, or if they're looking and they can't find it, maybe someone else knows, or if they have any questions about online learning? Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I think we've got everything taken care of. So take advantage of my article on my website. I will include a link to the specific article in chat here right now. And so let me send it to everyone. And that is the actual link to the article that showed up in chat. And I'm getting better at using multiple screens here on Zoom. So it's an interesting little experience. We've just finished an hour of learning about online learning. Can you believe it? Wow, fantastic. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate you joining me, and thank you, and have a good weekend.